you doing here? Back again. Okay, well, it took quite a bit longer than I expected to get back to streaming, back to work on what I was trying to work on. Let me check my sound and everything. Okay, so got all kinds of things going now. Let's see. So I ate my lunch, and then and while I was eating lunch and everything, I realized that I knew my website was going to be down when I took the server down. And here's my music website. So I thought, well, I better turn on this my backup server in the garage. And I have two gateway machines out there, older ones, 500 megahertz and 350 megahertz. And I couldn't remember for sure, and I didn't have it written down on anything I saw. I finally turned them both on. And then I had to go get in my router, and the other day I tried to get in my router, and I realized I never wrote down the password for my new router, and I couldn't remember it, and I finally figured it out. So I got in there and forwarded it to, I finally saw the right machine, and I figured out one thing. I've been turning on the router out there. It's what I used to do with the ZoneNet, just turn it on, and it would pick up my Wi-Fi and repeat it. Well, that Linksys won't do that until, with the DD-WRT on it, won't do it until, that's what I'm using out there now, because the ZoneNet's basically about dead. I have to reboot my D-Link inside. I turn it on and then reboot the D-Link, and then, because it wasn't showing up, to the D-Link. And so after I rebooted it, then I saw it. And actually, the 350 megahertz wasn't showing up. It might not have booted. I didn't bother to plug in a monitor. I had the monitor plugged into another machine and stuff, so I didn't bother to do that. I just, turned them on. Then when I got ready to, then I shut down figured out it was the 500 megahertz, and so it seems to be working just fine now. And of course that's not, since you're testing it, checking it from within your own network, you can always fool yourself. But it wasn't working until I did the forwarding. So this is one of the services I use, Uptime Robot, and it tells you, it'll email you when it's down and everything. So it's been back up for 23 minutes. It was down for 2 hours and 42 minutes because I thought, if I have to reformat that IBM and put a new hard drive in it, it could be a day or two or three. And so I thought, well, it's hot. It's 99 degrees right now in Fort Worth, so it might be a little cooler here. But we got one ceiling fan that always runs out in the garage, and that's not enough though. I turn on I haven't got a tall fan, and I turned it on full blast, blowing at the computer. So the computer will keep running without really any noticeable errors. I've done it when I was out there working in 102-degree weather, but I had all the doors open and everything, getting a little more airflow. I got the big door shut and the back door open, but the router, well, I put it up on the shelf to clear all the junk, to get a better signal, because it's repeating. There's no wires running to it. It's a Wi-Fi repeater, and then I can plug into the Ethernet ports and go to those desktop computers out there, and it works. Been doing it for years. But it was a ZoneNet was all set. It was just would do that. It would be a repeater like that, and so I learned how to do it with that. But then the Linksys I recently put DD-WRT on it, hoping it would make it work right again, because it was getting to work. One of the Ethernet ports is dead. The Wi-Fi was weak, and but it's still weak. It would get 54 megabits, and it used to always get that. Now it was getting about 15 out there since I set it up out there. So and that's what it was doing before I put DD-WRT on it too. So anyway, this is pretty cool if you have a website. If you have never seen this one, there's also where's the one that's called TV? There's one of them that has a thing called TV mode, and if you really just want to be able to glance at it at a glance, you can click on. I guess this is not the one. There's another one that I use, and you can click on it, and it'll just be a big green screen. It's green when it's good, and it's like red when it's bad, But see, even though I'm running a home server and things happen, 99% uptime, 99.61. That one says 100% for the last however long. But that's kind of fools you because I have it set to redirect. So here's my actual host name. I've lost my words. Anyway, this is my website, and that's it in the last 24 hours. That's what it's showing. Okay, and last 7 days, last 30 days, 99%, and then this is the one that, since I have a dynamic and not a static IP address from my ISP, I have to use this. So this point forwards to that, this forwards to that, and so this always checks my IP when it changes. Once in a while it doesn't, and I have to go back and put it in there manually. But anyway, that's what actually shows up if you go to, like if I go to this one, like I was just showing a while ago, it looks, no matter what page you go on, it just says DonsDeals.com because I set it up that way. It's called masking, I think. And then in bishopco.com, it'll just tell you where you're at. I just thought it would be a little, it's just not very different. It's so similar. I thought, well, then when you click around, it'll show you exactly what page you're on. So these are just the links. Even if you go to my music site, it'll still be Dawn Songs. So that's the actual music page, but it'll show the actual URL, you know. So it's kind of different like that, but I think that's the home page for it. I just clicked on. Yeah. See, now it doesn't say DonsSongs.com. It says Bishop what it is tattooed. We made, that tells you the actual. I thought about just changing them all, but here's the thing: if you hit the back button, like if you're on, let's see, if you're on DonsSongs.com, you go here, hit the back button. I was thinking it didn't do something right. Maybe not. Anyway, don't need to go into that. But it's working. I mean, 500 megahertz, Pentium 3, great server, out in the garage even. Of course, it's just been running a couple hours. It's when it, and that router, it could get hot. The problem is the routers get too hot, and that's when you start, the Wi-Fi starts dropping off, and then you may load really slow or not load at all sometimes. So I don't like to. And I've got toolboxes stacked on top of those things, and everything else are sitting on my desk out there. So I don't want to, I don't want to dig them out and bring them in here or anything. And I've got other machines that I think would be, they're a little newer, that would really be like, you know, like my IBM. It's a 2.5 gigahertz Celeron. It's quiet. It doesn't make a lot of heat, and it's got a lot more power. So I've got a couple other ones now that could be servers too. So anyway, I just thought I would show that, and trying to, I don't know what's going on. I was looking, I'm going to close that now. That was my email on my old machine. Oops, I just closed the whole remote desktop. That is not what I meant to do. Darn it. Let's see, what was I using? I think I was using Tiger VNC Viewer. It's not my favorite, but it works pretty good. It seems to work. Well, I know it works good when you're using Tiger VNC server, but I believe I'm using Beano server on here. So anyway, I was waiting to see if that was ever going to finish coming in, because you normally get notices when your server's down, and I don't think it's that they didn't send them out or anything. I think it's that one of my email addresses was actually not bringing in. It's not. I don't think it was, because that's what I was waiting on, and I don't think it is. But I'm not going to fool with it now, especially on this old machine. And I don't want it running any longer because I don't want to get too hot in here. So I just go ahead and shut it down. That's my red black BioStar, I call it, because it has a red. It's a black box with red lights. Well, it has some blue lights too, and it has BioStar motherboard. Okay, but it should shut down here in a little bit. The screen, froze because the machine's no longer talking. Okay, so video making. Okay, now I'm not going to go back. My last video, I was doing the running my script, my install script, my DNF group install script, and it finished just fine. I didn't see, there may be some errors in there somewhere, but I didn't see like a whole bunch at the bottom. And so I went ahead and copied, and I'm not going to go through it now because I got that server took out of its spot and sitting on the desk waiting for me to get to work on it. So I'm going to go get to work on it. I just went round and around and around, and I had my cameras all started back up, thinking I was ready to go stream again, and then I wasn't for a long time because I couldn't find then all of a sudden I remembered, oh, I don't know. Now there's that IBM. I remembered, oh, I don't even know I figured out the other day I didn't know the password to my new router. I hadn't wrote it down. Finally figured it out. I just finally got on the machine that's doing this, and it's still scanning away. The ASRock's still scanning that Seagate USB backup drive. I went there and got on it and started looking through the files, and I never did find it, but I found enough information to help me remember it, basically. So let's see what we can do here. What am I going to have to do? See, on the one hand, my cables, my power, well, of course, I got another power cable over there that'll go to I always have it ready to go to that work table. But my VGA and my USB, so I can control it with my keyboard, are plugged into the ASRock. Now, I can't unplug them. I guess that's what I'm going to do. And they'll just reach to that work table. I had kind of already forgot about all that during all this running around. And I do have the wireless keyboard and mouse. I can just plug that into it and have a keyboard and mouse too. But of course, the VGA and the USB cable for the KVM switch, they're together. So if you use one, you might as well use the other. And of course, without the VGA, I have no monitor, so I got to have that. Unless if I want to, I could just turn it on and not worry about. Actually, just of course, being a server, it would start working, and it's set to boot up after power loss. So, and I shut it down normally, but if I plug it in, it'll turn on, and then it would probably make its noises without any monitor hooked up or anything. But of course, when I shut it down, I just have to hard shut it down. I may do that first because that's all I want out of it, is to hear that noise again and see if I can trace it down. If it don't make the noise, that's the thing. It's been coming and going, and so with it in its place and running like it, as normal, then I can, when it starts making noise, I can go over there and listen, but it's all up in that corner. If you look at my previous video where I took it out and checked it the best I could, it's couldn't really figure it out with it up in there. Plus, it was so dusty, I didn't want to knock that dust loose and breathe it, so I took it outside and blew it out. It's the only good way to clean them. The last time or two I cleaned it, I didn't feel like dragging it out, so I vacuumed it, but that just doesn't get those fans clean. It takes that air pressure to really get that stuff out of those fans. Sometimes you get unlucky and you actually blow some of that junk up in the bearings of the fan. I've done that before. Makes them start actually making noise when they weren't before. But that's another thing. I've tried other things. Don't put lithium grease in those fans. It gums up in about a week to a month, and then it's 10 times worse than it ever was. Matter of fact, I don't know what that crap is good for. It's on the cans and all. I just looked at I'd seen people using it on things, on videos or whatever. And on the can, it makes it sound wonderful, but I tried it on door hinges because, it says, it stays around, and it says it doesn't dry up, but it does, and it gets sticky as all get out. And you don't want that on an electric fan or anything. You don't want anything that it makes more resistance, And it actually made my door start squeaking sooner than if you just spray them with WD-40. And WD-40 will evaporate, depending on what it's on, it'll evaporate in a week or a month or two, and you have to do it again, And Rust Buster, well, it'll stay around, but it really makes a mess, and I don't know if that's good. It's pretty. It can actually damage some kinds of plastic, and melt them a little bit or stain them real bad. So I don't know. I have some of those old fans that where I was desperate to try to make them work. I sprayed it in there before. It didn't ruin them, but Rust Buster. I don't know what else. I don't think graphite would be good for a fan. And then there's just all different kinds of oil, but they're generally just a remix of the same basic stuff, So. But WD-40 is really, if you read the can, I did that when I was a teenager because, I used to do that a lot to learn about things. You didn't have an internet to look things up. And it says it's more of basically it says it's more of a cleaner than anything. It's not, I don't know what it says on there now. I haven't read it in many years, but it said it wasn't a lubricant. It was really a cleaner, but it does have a lubricating action. Obviously, people use it all the time, but it doesn't stay very long. Regular old motor oil was the thing everybody used. That and WD-40, I think it came out when I was like my early teens. You know, it hasn't been around forever. It either came out then or I discovered it then. I can't remember, but I think it came out then. But everybody used motor oil in a little, you know, you drip a drop out of the little squeeze cans. You know, that's what I grew up using until then. But I did like WD-40 is good for a lot of things. It'll dissipate water. That was the first miracle thing, the only miracle thing it does. It dissipates water, and if you get your distributor wet in your car, well, back in the days when we had regular distributors and points especially, get your points wet, you could spray them. Spray your wires, and it will make that water go on out of there. Your engine will run again, and you won't even, most of the time, you won't even have to take the cap off the distributor. But if you spray it on your points, like back in there was a little door you could open it. I'm just talking. You could open that little door and spray it in there without taking the cap off. But then it always made the points burn a little bit, or get, well, they didn't really burn too much. If your points were kind of, depending on if your ignition system wasn't working quite right, your points would burn easily. Well, it might cause that to go ahead and do that. But really, it just kind of made a film on them, and then after in a week or two, they wouldn't contact good anymore, and your engine started running rough. So you'd have to either get some, well, at first I would sand them, and I found out that was a bad idea, and I learned in some books and magazines. It really did work to take a slick magazine paper, if they're not bad, if they're not burnt, and just slide it between the points, and it would clean them at just the right amount to make them work good again. And if you do have to sand them, do it with very fine paper, because if you do like fingernail file or 120 grit or anything like that, it's too much, and it makes them burn really quickly. They'll work good for a little while, and then they'll burn. So there you go. That's points in the middle of a supposed video about working on a computer. So let me switch. That's why I've been going in circles trying to do everything. I was trying to go fast because I wanted to get everything done. Okay. Mute that. Trying to go fast because I wanted to get everything done, and I wanted to get back to, you know, when I say, okay, I'm going to be back in a little bit. Because I wanted to get everything done. Okay. I'm listening. Trying to go fast because I wanted to get everything done, and okay, I was trying to make sure everything was working. So anyway, I've just warm myself out. Let's see. So this box, I thought I had to get it in the view to where you could see. Can you see how angled it is? Yeah, you can. If you really look at it, it's really angled. It's well, I've got it set square to the camera, and but as you can see, it tapers right here, and then it has this little rain like your roof on your house, you know, to let the rain drip off on the back. Of course, that's not what it's for, and that's just for looks there. And that was the cover that I had in it for the empty slot. And it's actually from another box. It's actually from well, I have two boxes, you know, the one I call the red black Biostar and the AS Rock now. The red and black boxes with the light, big red landing strip lights, and the blue power and reset lights. That's what that came out of, is where I took one of those out. But let me think. Well, let's see, where's my power? It should have a power, unless I'm using it on the AS Rock. Oh, there it is, I see it. I don't think I'm not gonna plug it in right now, but I thought I'd get it out. Because I may do that and not, I mean, I can always, well, let's see how many things I can get tangled up in. I was using my back scratcher to get that drug out of there, and then it got a hold of a mouse. And okay, so there we go. This is actually pretty easy to open and everything. There we go. But see how it is? When you go set that, if you go set that up like that, it'll be crooked. And it always kind of throws me off. I'm like, I think it's fixing to fall. It doesn't necessarily fall. Now, that front cover, you don't need it off unless you want into that front hard drive cage, which is empty. This is the hard drive that I think may be making noise. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna plug it in and see if it starts making noise right off.
like I said, I think it should just start right up unless it, oh, I could have it set to like whatever the last state was. Yeah, I guess I do. So I have it set not to always on. No, I got it set to always on. It just took a minute. Yeah, that's the best way to make sure it's always on since it's a server. So you can set it to go whatever the last state was. If it was off, it stays off. If it was on, it goes on. You can do that too. Okay, I hear the noise. You know what? I think it's the... No, I can't tell. It could, this is the CPU cooler, and it's actually a pretty good cooler. It's got a fan on it, on the side blowing through fins, and it's got heat pipes in it. It looks like a pretty good cooler. It might be that thing, but no. There we go again. I can't really tell. Let's try my screwdriver stethoscope. You know what? That don't sound bad. I can't even find the fan in this power supply, but there is one in there. I can't see it too good. I get a light. I'll get my magnifying glass with the light. There it is. Yeah, it's right there on that side. And that could be it. Now that sounds quiet and normal when you, but right there, that's spinning. But it sounds more like a hard drive to me, acting up. But boy, it is hard to tell. I'm gonna try that. I know it makes a weird sound, but I think I'm gonna try it again. Makes an echo and everything. I know what I'll do. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the sound, get ready, go to the advanced properties and try not to grab my window and mess it up. And every time I do this, I end up grabbing my video window and messing it up. And you have to make it big enough to see it, otherwise you got to sit there and page back and forth. Okay, so the camera, it's the second one from the top. Now usually I do monitor and output, but there I can hear it through the speakers. But what happens? Okay, now what I want to know, I want to mute that. I want to listen to it on my actual live stream because I don't know if I can. Okay, that makes it work. That makes it work the way you still hear it through the live stream. That's exactly what I thought it did. Okay, so I have to have monitor and output. Then I can hear it, and it'll be recorded in the video. I mean, it's not going to be... That's exactly what I thought it did. Okay, yeah, there we go. Monitor and output. So I'll turn that one back off, unmute the speakers. And let's see. It's going to be a lot of echo, but it's too loud, I think. Go back down one. I want to see if the mic is the stethoscope. I'm going to touch the if I can get it off. Sure. To squeeze that little thing. And now here's the hard. Now it's not. That's that sound for sure. Now I'm putting it on the heat sink. touching the top of it. Okay, let's put it on here. Imagine if I was sitting by a speaker that near that. Okay, it's not that thing. I'm very well be this one. I'm starting to think. Let me just hold that mic. And let's touch the clip. It seems like I'm getting that sound in stereo when I hold it up against the hardware. It really might be the case. You don't really hear a big change on there. It's pretty warm now. You hear the fan going through the Hey, that sounds like a pee, doesn't it? There's that sound going through. Okay. So forget I shouldn't do that on the video. Blowing the mic off because it was dirty. Okay. Let's get rid of that annoying echo. That is a useful thing, but it's not something you can just leave on all the time. So what I'm going to do is power it off and unplug the hard drive, I guess, first, and see if it goes away. Where's the power button? There we go. And actually I could have left it plugged in. Well, no, it's not really good. Okay, so I'm just going to unplug the power from it. And the rest of it goes to the front, so that if I wanted to put in another hard drive, say I don't know, I never did end up doing it. I thought, oh, I could plug one in there and transfer data, do this, do that. I thought I could use it as a testing bay, actually. But then I realized, well, this is my server, I don't want to shut it down. And I didn't want to hot swap it because I was afraid that would mess up the hard drive or do something to the motherboard, because nothing in the specs that I remember said that it was hot swappable. So, okay, plug it back in and see if it's quiet without the hard drive. Well, it hadn't booted up yet, I don't think. If it has, it's the hard drive. Not sure if it's running. I think the lights are on, but I don't think anybody's home. It may, since I hard shut it down, it might have interrupted the. Yeah, there's no light on the front. There we go. It didn't automatically start up. Okay, I still hear that noise, so it must not be the hard drive. Where does that fan plug in? I think it plugs in on the front where you can't even see it. I think it's the fan. Let's do that again with the monitoring. Okay, we're going to get echo again. Now let's see what it sounds like. Yep. I think it's this fan. Well, that's better than the hardware. I might have a brand new that fixed it. I have one injection. You hear the fan? Yeah. And of course, the hard drive's not running. So this one here is fine, I believe. That's pretty cool. Basically a stethoscope. I'm glad I don't have my headphones on. I started headphones on to listen to that. That's not a good idea. It's gonna kill you. Okay. And let's see if everything's back to normal on my stream. I still have the preview playing. Still have the preview playing, but not the audio over there. Okay, so and I hope that doesn't. Well, everything's working. So I think the newer version of OBS, you can open the settings and change them and stuff without making it use up all your memory and lock up your machine. But if it does, then well, we'll know what happened. I don't have that. I still don't have that system monitor that I like, or do I? Let's look. I have some more. See, all my scripts are run. I don't know if I actually got the one I want the most, but I do have 3 of them now. So, whoops. Let's go to the desktop. Well, I'll close that menu right there. Go to the desktop. I'll open up a system monitor. I have a desktop app search now. Oh, well, I was just looking in the menu and I saw 3 of them. I got Mate, that's the one I already had. System monitor, that was not, didn't turn out. See, there's 2 of them that say system monitor, but they're not the right one. So in system tools, I've got Mate system monitor, Mate terminal, system monitor, still wasn't the one I was looking for. Task manager, that's the one I already had from XFCE. Let's see if it could be in another. As much as I install in the groups, you would think I would have got it, but I don't see it. Let's see. KS doesn't do it. K-S. Monitor. Oh, let's open system monitor again. I don't believe it's the one yeah, see, it doesn't have the search up there. Actually, I think this is one of the ones that comes all the time with them that I don't really like, but it does have good graphic, and yeah, it doesn't have the one that tells you. So this is another one that's okay but not great because you don't have the searcher, so you can wait. Yes, you do. It's got one. It's just different. Okay. Of course, you don't need, right this minute, actually, I was just trying to figure out if it's the one. It's not the one that I like so much because that searcher stays up over on the left side on the one that I like. K-Sysguard is what it's called. This is some other one. I don't know. My processes, all processes, dependencies. Oh, well then if you don't know the root processes, active processes, you can change it. Okay, I just happened to see that square up there and I thought, let's see what's in it. Okay, so it's on memory right now, OBS 643. Well, you know, the newer version may use that much. It seems like every time I look at it, it's using more. It is just a newer version. But CPU's about normal. Okay. And what about the system monitor? System monitor. I don't know what it's called. System D, probably. Doesn't look like it's doing anything too much. Genome system monitor, that's what I'm using. That's it. So it's 15 megabyte and no, just like now it's doing 1% of CPU. So I think that'll be fine. Still a lot, isn't it? But this way I can just click over there and see until I get my one that I really want. Click over there and see what's going on. But that thing is over there just rattling like crazy. So yeah, it's got to be that bad boy right there. So let's turn it off. Am I still live and working and everything? I think so. Cam 2, wireless, okay. Okay, so. I think so. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't think that really entered my mind about The CPU fan, I don't know why I always forget about them. They almost all have CPU fans. Well, the older ones don't have a fan, just a heatsink. But this one does. Since I'm going to be plugging and unplugging things, I'll unplug the machine. Now I'll plug this back in so I won't forget it. So I can't get, there's screws that you unscrew this and take it off. And I'm going to end up having to do that anyway, so I'm going to unscrew it. And then everything's really tight right in there. And then I can get to the, I notice I'm always trying to touch the case first, because I've noticed that when I touch the case, sometimes I feel a little bit of a static electricity shock. So you definitely don't want that going through any components. There's been a lot of static electricity in my room lately. Gonna have to get something different. Let's see. I see that it has hex. I think they're too small for anything I got in here, but try it and see. And I have this ratchet screwdriver. If it'll fit down there and get on it, let's see which way is the best way to do it. I think I've taken this off before. That's what I figured. It seemed like they were small. Let's see if this would fit it. Yeah, it does. Cool beans. So I'll put these up here so I'll know what goes with what. Yeah, gets a hold of it perfectly. It's a lot easier than trying to, it's a small, it's a Phillips, but it's small, and this is pretty hard. I mean, no matter, even though I've turned it that much, it's still really hard to turn. So it's kind of a strange one to get off. It's very different. It's not a clip-on. You don't have to worry about this one falling off. Oh, okay. Surely you don't have to unscrew them all the way. I think you might. But they're so hard to turn. Oh, there we go. You loosen them up and then you can bend them over. I didn't think you should have to unscrew them all the way. There. That heatsink paste is going to probably need a little new. There we go. There's that power. Oh, sorry, Mr. Camera. That thing is hot as blazes. Well, I mean, it should be warm, I guess, but I blew it out as best as I could. It looks like I actually got it clean. But, let's see. You can actually see that too. Yeah, I got it really good and clean. It's good looking, I'll tell you that. That's a nice fan shroud there. Yeah, I gotta call it that metal guard, fan guard. IBM, but it's made in China. Dang it. I don't know if I can get that to, well, you'll have to trust me. Let's see how. I think that this heatsink paste, I was looking at it going, that's kind of gray. I wonder if that's some of that new stuff that I bought, but I don't think so. It's just getting close to being dry. It needed some. As a matter of fact, since I've got a whole new tube, I may wipe all this off and put brand new on there, because I have a whole new tube now. I guess I'll do that now, because what'll happen is I'll get it over everything the more I mess with it, you know. Let's see. Probably won't need to use any cleaner. Sometimes you do when it gets really, really dry. Yeah, it wasn't that dry. Yeah, I mean, I could have probably just added some, but I used to think it was like some super science thing that you had to, well, it always said don't touch them and stuff and instructions. And I thought, well, it used to say, well, it didn't say don't get it on your fingers. It used to just say don't touch it. And anyway, I finally found out what this stuff is. It's grease. I guess it's probably kind of a lithium grease more. Now that I think about it, that's what it looks and acts like. It goes on all gooey and then it dries up over time. I'm sure it's better than the stuff in the spray can, but there we go. Yeah, I've seen them. With laptops, they get so hot in there. they'll get, it'll dry up and it'll be crusty. And then the laptop will always shut down, and people think their laptop's dying, and all it is that. So if your laptop's overheating and shutting down, sometimes it's hard to get to them, but if you can figure it out, look it up online, see a video on how to get to it, and how to get to that and get it off without breaking something for sure. But put some new heatsink paste in there, and it should probably be just as good as new. Now, if your fan's not working, that's the other thing. You want to make sure that's working. This is a 0.5 gigahertz Celeron, just like I thought. It's 2 Intel, of course. Can't read all the numbers, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't have any PCI slots being used. I remember I bought the RAM and upgraded it to the max I can handle, 2 gig. This is from Computer Bay, and you know, the reviews are not so great anymore, but when I bought it, they were good, and I haven't had any trouble. I bought 6 sticks of Computer Bay RAM for all these old machines because they were $10 a stick, I think is what it basically was. I think some of it I paid $15. Oh, I got some DD-WRT RAM for $15 a stick for the laptop. I don't know if I got 1 or 2 sticks over the last 2 or 3 years, and it's been great. But I have seen a lot of reviews. It kind of seems like their quality control has gone to pot or something. I've seen a lot of reviews where it's real hit and miss. So, okay, let's get to the fan now. What am I going to do? Let's put these tools over here, I guess. Move this out of the way for right now. Don't get it so far it falls off. Okay, fan. Yeah, see, that's really a big, good. See, there's the heat pipes. So it's got lots of fins. I mean, it's got thick fins, and then it's got heat pipes to bring it up to, I don't know how it's designed. You can see through it. You can see through it better without doing that. I can see through the other side, so I don't know exactly what the heat pipes do for it, but there they are. And where's all my little attachments? I need a small, there's one, I think. Looks like they're pretty small. Is that going to be it, or is that still maybe too small? That's it. Oh, half the time I forget I have this thing. It's real handy. I have a couple of different, I think I have 3 sets. One that's kind of a quick connect for Craftsman that I used on my drill outside all the time. And this set that I had before that. And then, oh, and I have a Black & Decker that's got a whole bunch in there. And it's got everything you could imagine, just about. It's not real great quality. I think these might be better, tougher ones than those Black & Deckers. But these I put in here. I wanted a little, you know, toolbox setup that's always ready to grab here inside for the computers. And so I put these in here. And I forget I have it sometimes. But another paper towel and wipe this off. Well, I'm glad that looks like I figured it out. I mean, you think you have sometimes 3 or 4 times when you're doing this stuff, but I think I figured it out. And let's see about this fan now. I can't believe it doesn't hesitate or make noise when it's not plugged in. But I had the hard drive. Now the only other 2 things that could make noise is this fan and that fan, and it sounded to me like it's this one. So, what's a good looking fan? It's more solid looking than, it's got a metal plate and a screw right there to hold it together. And Mina Biba Mutsa Shitta. I'm not lying. Mina Beta Mutsa Shida. M-E-N-E-B-E-A. Mina Bia, sorry, added a T in there. M-A-T-S-U-S-H-I-T-A. Motor Corporation, made in China. It's really weird how a lot of Chinese words, and or maybe some Japanese words too, translate as. I wonder if that's how we got our cuss words. Well, that's the only thing we caught on to, especially, you know, especially like in the old movies. You always saw the Oriental people bitching and yelling at everybody, all their underlings or whatever, you know, going and so maybe if they were speaking in real life, if they were speaking and they were saying Mutsushita, then maybe that's how we learned all that stuff. Maybe that's how it happened. I don't know, just guessing. It's been going on since long before I was born, so I'm old. Well, luckily, sometimes you take these off, and after you've blown them off the best you can, and they're still filthy, but this thing actually did come clean. So good. I remember one of these when I first got it, and that is a machined piece of aluminum right there. I mean, that's going to fit flat on that processor. That is the most well-made looking heat sink I've ever seen. It's pretty heavy too. I think that's what's mostly giving it its weight. But and it's got some tags on there too. Let's see. Don't forget to wipe your nose with that. Put it down there in the toolbox because I'll probably grab it and use it. Okay, now that fan I've been talking about is outside. Let's make sure everything's working. I noticed I kind of skipped through my earlier video and it wasn't good, but it dropped frames. But well, now I realize I never did have that router out there picking connect. It was on, but it wasn't connected to this router. So I was thinking it was actually causing interference, but it just wasn't doing anything. So, oh, it's on now. So maybe it'll be better. It's already on. I know it's connected. So in theory, when I get out there, it should strengthen the signal. So let's just see.
I was thinking it was a...
Let's just see. I was going to do it anyway because I got to go out there and get my box of fans. But I've got it. I had it out recently. So I'm going to grab the camera on the stick here and we'll just go out in the garage. I don't know if anybody's in there or what, so I gotta have a drink before I go. I want a little coffee and then I want a little water. And here it's not too bad. Of course I can do a selfie stick with it. I don't really do that much, but it's actually not hard to. Okay, we're in the garage. Somebody was asleep on the couch, so it's a good thing I aimed it at me and not them. Okay, so here's my boxes of stuff. I actually unplugged my light that's usually right there. I don't think I need it. But let's see. That one. That one, these are in limbo waiting to be put up there. It's hard for me to get up and down from there now, and it's actually pretty full, so I can go a little higher right in that area. But then when I want the stuff, I didn't want these up there because I didn't want them not be able to, just the fans. Let's open it up. I didn't want to open it unless it was. Yeah, that's the brand new fan. I stuck other parts in there with it. That's what it is. And this one, let me look at it to refresh my own memory. Okay, yeah, this is the motherboard and the power supply out of the S-Rock, which is about gone. But the motherboard is good. Was Mom's motherboard and processor and memory. So if I had a power supply that would work on that, see these other machines out here, there's two that would work. But the power supplies won't work on those newer motherboards. I got more back in there. That's the old AS Rock up there. I mean the old E machines, and it's just a box now. So anyway, this is so full of stuff. It's heavy. So we'll go back now. We'll do the selfie on the way back too, because that way we won't be showing anybody else. Okay. Let's put this back in its place so that we're actually showing the work table. It never does hang exactly the same way every time. And if you don't, once it starts sagging some after you get it in there, so kind of a trick to get it where you want it and get it to stay there. Let's see. I think I've got a little too much pull on that cable, power cable. There we go, that's pretty good, I think. Looks pretty level to me looking at it. Okay. Alright, let's see, have I still got audio? There we go, that's pretty good. Yeah, okay, it worked. Well, we'll see. That could have actually been an improvement since I had the router outside running, and I know it was hooked up and connected because a server, you know, I had to reboot this router in here to get it to see that one out there. You can't just, my old ZoneNet, I could just turn it on and it was connected. That doesn't work anymore with the Linksys, with DD-WRT. But it might be a hardware thing, I don't know. Okay, this fan, I'll put it back there. This is a server that runs 24/7, so I don't want to fiddle around with trying to clean it. And these are all the network cards that I got out of machines. One of them, well, I don't know, yeah, network cards. Yeah, I think I dug them all out of the machines out in the garage, trying to find one to work in the, well, I think one of them already had in here and it wouldn't work. Okay, now here's the brand new, it's a brand new heat sink, but see how little it is? And a power and a fan that I was thinking might fit on here. Yes, it will bolt up, I do believe. Maybe. I get this, get it off of this deal. I think it's going to bolt up. It just happens to be that size. So I don't use it. I've been, oh yeah, and it's, how many pins is the connector? Uh-oh, I think I'm in trouble with that. This is a 3-pin, and this is a 4-pin. Okay. Let's look on the motherboard, but I don't think, yeah, if I plug it in wrong, I could burn up, short out the motherboard or something, you know. I mean, you might be able to put it to one side or the other. Let's see. Let's see if it would do that. It looks like it might be made in such a way. Actually, there's a capacitor right next to it. I can't see. Need more light. There's a capacitor. Oh, well, it's in the picture, looks like. Yeah, it's in the picture. So there's a capacitor right there. Trying to get this to where I can move this over here, I guess. I don't want it falling off. It might give me enough light to see. Can I look through the thing? Not without holding it. But there's a capacitor right there. So you can't try that, because you'd be putting it in backwards, and then I know I'd be shorting it out. But yeah, the deal that, you know, the dummy thing, the capacitor is the next part of it. Okay, so this don't fit in there, period. I think that this one, though, it actually screws into the fins, and so I can take it off of this one and use it on that one over there, the one I call the red black Biostar. Let's see, there's no more fans in here, I don't think. What's this? Oh, see, this is some more of Mom's parts for her Biostar. I've got parts mixed. I'm gonna have myself confused. This is the box that her new, this is the box that her new FX8300 processor came in, and it's got a brand new. I didn't use that heatsink that came with it because I had already bought this one, and it's a better one. Oh, but it's probably going to be. Oh, and this is. I guess I put her processor in here. What is that? Oh, this is the eMachines processor. I just stuck it in there to protect it because I don't have a motherboard or anything in that box. Let's see. Can't read it good, but I think it says 430E, which would be it. Yeah, because Mom, I just looked at it. I didn't take Mom's out. There's numbers, indents in the way there, but AMD Athlon. You see, so I've got two dual cores that I could set up now. Well, no, I don't know. I'm using the ASRock motherboard. I keep thinking I'm going to have to get another motherboard, and then I think, okay, then I'd have 2 dual cores I could set up if I wanted to. But so 3-pin fan. I bet you this is new enough. It's going to be a 4-pin. Yep, 4-pin. Got a bigger heatsink. That one would work. I would just use that. Oh, that's the side that goes onto the deal. I would just use that if it worked, even though it would be kind of weird. Yeah, you'd never get that to stay on there because it's a clip-on. But yeah, so I've got a good. I mean, it's good enough for the 8300. I just could tell after I'd already bought this one because I thought her. I got all confused with that other one trying to figure it out. I thought her heatsink fan, her CPU fan had gone bad. This is the one that was on there. The new one is in the machine, the ASRock right now. This is the one that was on there that I thought had gone bad. This is one that was on the, no, the one on her machine. Wait, yeah. I just saw that cooler on her motherboard. This has got to be the one off of the eMachines then. So it's a newer one. Yeah, it should be fine. And it's okay, you know. But again, it's going to be a 4-pin. Yep. So it's, and of course it's made to clip onto these AMD motherboards. So Intel motherboards, they generally, even if they're clip-ons, they mount different. And of course you can see this one really mounts different. I don't have, okay, so those won't work. Now if I have another fan outside, I'd be alright. I'll have to go dig out another box that has a bunch of fans, but I can't remember having another small fan of that size. I wonder if those, I wasn't paying good attention to those cables. I wonder if they're laid out in a different way to where I could use it. Let's look again. No, it's the same. Yeah, it's gonna be the same. And it's probably for the best because unless there's a 4-pin header that I'm not, you know, I'm not looking. Let's look. Maybe there's a 4-pin header in there. Put that back. Let's move this box and let's just shut it up. I don't think there's going to be, but we'll look. I'll be getting it out again in just a minute, probably. Okay. 4-pin. Okay. So there's a processor and a I didn't get the tabs down right. This is a weird box. It's tricky. But yeah, the power CPU cooler and fan that came in this box is on the ASRock now. I call it the ASRock because of the motherboard. Again and again I say that. This is not the 8300 processor. This is the dual core that came out of the E machines, but it's the cooler that came with the 8300 processor. Got it? Good. Get it? Got it? Good. Okay, I'll leave everything like it is for now. Okay, now there's always a, you know, at least a case fan header or something. Oh yeah, the whole point of me doing that was so I could get this over in the deal. So, but I figured it'd be too far away. There's the one that's, you know, normal. I mean, the one that's been being used. So, oh, there's another one, and it's 3-pin too. That's the one I was looking for, but it's too far away. Rear fan, but it's 3-pin. I don't think there's going to be any 4-pin in this because it's older. It does have an SATA cable in it though. You can put SATA hard drives in this thing by default. I mean, that's not just added on. That comes out of the power supply that way. Right? Right, yeah. And I just realized it was kind of right up against that. Maybe that's better. Yeah, because when you stand it up, that's fine. It's behind those kind of easy to bend audio and USB deals. Okay, and see, now it's an IDE drive. Okay, I do think I don't want to turn it on. Well, I could turn it on for just a little bit. And I didn't want to put all the paste on it. I mean, I could put this back on there without the fan just to run it for a while. I don't want to run it without something on there. So, I won't do that. It's, okay, so I need a 3-pin fan, period. And I really wouldn't want to plug it anywhere but there because you want it to be controlled properly. You know, I mean, it's going to have some stuff to, like when the processor heats up, it'll come on, you know, and all that sort of thing. So you don't want to plug it in somewhere else anyway, unless it was just on all the time and never went off kind of thing. But what I was wondering is it could be this one making all the noise and I'm doing all this for nothing. So let's plug it in for a minute. And I won't. Let's see. I'm just going to set this on there like that. And it'll be doing some help there in case I lose track of time there. It should be quiet now. And if it's not, then this fan is the one that's actually causing all the trouble. So far, so good. Hard drive's on. It's plugged in. Yep. Oh yeah, that's really quiet. So I don't have to do them. I'm not even gonna do the mic check, you know. Now I hear the hard drive. It does make some noise when it's being read and stuff. It's probably in the process of booting up. Making a lot of noise. I'm gonna go ahead and stick the mic over there. There it is, right up on it. Of course, that's not making noise. There's no fan over there. And that could very well be just. It never was the quietest hard drive. Those older IDs never usually are. But I don't know. That's that sound. That's that same sound. Can't help, and I rub the dirt off of the mic and everything. I keep forgetting. It's not very loud right now, but now it sounds okay. I started to do that ahead of before, but I thought, well, it's dirt. I know it's dirty and it needs cleaning out, so I took it apart. But I found that benchmark app. I'm holding the mic over there so that if it happens again, it'll be picked up. That benchmark app can do CPU benchmark and all that stuff. And I thought I could, and I think it'll test the hard drive writes and all that stuff too. It has stuff like that on it. Well, just doing the CPU benchmark will really be writing to the hard drive a lot, like to the cache. That's warming up pretty fast. Turn it off now. All I can do is, I mean, I could plug that. Well, the thing is, it's going to warm up too fast with that. That warms up. That's pretty warm. I mean, that's kind of uncomfortable to hold on to, just that soon. I knew it would be. So, I mean, to see if this is really bad, I could plug it in. I was thinking, well, I could plug it into that header, and but I don't want to overheat that CPU and ruin the thing. I don't have another one of those. I mean, I have some more Celerons, but anyway, I don't want to do that, you know. But this, oddly enough, it just spins like a brand new fan. They always stop because of the magnetism in them, but and it's hard to tell. Wait. Thought I heard a little noise when I spun it. I do hear a little noise. You know what? I think that it probably is the fan. I don't think the mic would pick this up. I hear a little something. I'm going to stick my ear in there and it's going to hurt. Yeah, I hear a little something. I think that bearing is about worn out. I mean, I can try cleaning it. Yeah, take the paper off, but it doesn't do much good most of the time. I got to go back outside. I'm getting to where I need a break again. I think what I'll do is turn off the video, go out there and bring in, instead of going, you know, it gets too much bad video and too much work to drag around the video. I need to crawl up in those shelves and dig out that box full of fans and see, because I can't remember, and I might have one that I know I have some 3 pins probably, at least one, but I think it's a big fan like for the case. I don't think there's really any way. I mean, you could put one screw in down here and have it on crooked or something. That's about all you could do. Yeah, because that fits inside of that machined out part. And I'm not gonna go be spending $5 or $10 on a fan for this thing. I'll just grab another machine and set up another server, because I have other full machines out there. Only problem I would have with them is if they were too loud. I was trying to think. I've ran them all and messed with them to see what was up with them. Some of them I had to do some work on. One of them I know is a 1.7 gigahertz and it needs the hard drive reformatted. And then some of them had bad hard drives in them. Some of them had 2 hard drives in them, and I took out, like one of them I got a 250 gigabyte hard drive out of one of them. I think I have it down there in the shelf. And another one would be fine except for the plug, the plastic plug here. Let's see if we can show that. Oh, not this one, but one of the ones outside. I like the looks of it. It's a HP, just like, it's a Pentium 4, I think. But this is broken, and so it won't stay connected. And but I have old blown out power supplies that I could get one of these out of, and I'd have to take it out, get this one out, and then solder. You have to solder the connections and do all that. So I thought, well, what is written on there? I got a red tape. Oh, again. I think that says bad in one of the USBs. Yeah, I got bad written on one of the USBs. Tape stuck over it. Well, at least I did that. Okay, so anyway, this machine has been my favorite server. Well, I've only really ran 2. This one that turned into a server, and that's well, the one that's I set up for a backup that I'm using right now, but as far as long time, for years I ran, my first one was that Dell 400 megahertz, and it could still work, but it's real finicky when it gets shut down, when the power loss or something. It doesn't always boot back up. It'll say, doesn't recognize all the memory, and it'll hang up. And it's not, I mean, 400 megahertz versus 2.5 gigahertz, well, there you go. So, and the, I mean, 1.7, I'm thinking like 1.7, I don't want that, I got a 2.5 gigahertz, you know. And I don't know if that other one, I think it's a Celeron, and then the other one that's a HP, I think it's a Pentium 4 around 2 gigahertz, somewhere around in there. I know it's not 1.7 or anything crappy like that. Anything under 2 is crappy. I don't care if it's a dual, I got a dual core, it's 1.8 gigahertz, and it's like, until you get into it actually using the extra cores, it's a terrible wimp. My Pentium 4 that's 2.4 gigahertz will work circles around it, and if you're doing something that doesn't, what can I give? I don't know what examples I can give, but anyway, I've compared, and in some instances it will do better, because it's just like they say with engines. There's no replacement for displacement. It's the same thing with gigahertz. There's no replacement for gigahertz either, or megahertz, or however you want to rate it. So, dang it. I thought that I would have either a good used fan right here in this box or a brand new one. I'd forgotten I had that many. All I really remembered was this one, because this is the one I bought new for $4.50 and thought it was going to fit something, and it didn't. So it's been sitting out there for over 10 years in the garage. But I do think I can make it work on my that 1.8 gigahertz, and it's got the most horrible, the fan works fine, but it whines and it drives me insane. I can't stand to listen to it. And I've always wanted to replace it, and I never have done it. I used to be using it all day, every day. Then when I quit using it, I just, you know, out of sight, out of mind. So, yeah. I'm really getting tired. I wanted to get back to my install script and all that stuff, but I guess it's 4:07, yeah. So I'll take a break, get my other fan box, and try to hopefully get something done about this. Otherwise, I was looking at the machine, whether it was in the picture or not. Otherwise, you know, I mean, well, I'm glad I started up my backup server. But yeah, let me do that. As long as I ran these camera phones before I even started my stream, they probably need to be rebooted again anyway. Okay. I'll plan on being back here in a little while today, and try to get this thing figured out. Hopefully I've got some.